Just don't come here with your 4Runner. That's all I ask.
No 4Runners allowed.
No Broncos, no 4Runners, no Tacomas, no Ford Escapes, whatever you guys are using.
Ford Escapes.
We've got a really nice JL Rubicon for one of my customers that's going to be doing some camping. So it's a little kind of like an overland style build. Starting at the front end, it's factory Rubicon bumper with a worn Xeon 10S winch, Baja Designs LP6 lights, Factor 55, Flat Link Expert for soft shackles, and then continuing from front to back, we have a Steer Smarts sector shaft brace, Fox TS steering stabilizer. We did a 1/2-inch leveling kit from TerraFlex for the front springs to hold the extra weight. So the tent and the rack setup is pretty unique. It's a Gobi stealth rack with a 40-inch light bar setup for the front. The reason I say it's unique, we've got a tent on there that is as big of a tent as you could ever possibly fit on the rack. And we also wired up solar panels to the top of the tent so that the Jeep is never gonna have a dead battery.
Now, how big is this tent when it opens up? Like the way it opens, does it open, you know, like pop up? Does it open from the side? How, does it go straight up? How does it work?
It goes straight up and then one end pops up. So it's not a total clamshell, but the whole thing comes up and then like this. Okay. So you really have a ton of room on the inside. You can put a family of 4 in there, no problem. For lighting around the campsite, we used rigid lighting. So we've got the 40-inch bar in the front that I mentioned. That's the SR Midnight Series. And then we've got 4 of their scene lights. I'll show you that over here. So we mounted the rigid scene lights here, kind of one per corner on the rack, and these have a really, really wide spread, so they won't like hurt your eyes if you look at it, but you get good lighting all around the Jeep for camping. And we used our 3D printer on this one actually, and 3D printed some nice little brackets to hold the lights to the rack. So try to go the extra mile when we can to make things look like they're meant to be the way we install them. Another thing, since we're at the side of the Jeep now, are the Rockslide engineering steps. We did the Rockslide engineering steps with the extra armor kit. The Jeep sits pretty low, and the customer does off-road. So if the Jeep gets high-centered, shouldn't be an issue, shouldn't damage the steps. We like to think we set it up pretty well.
And what about the light bar in the back? So we got another light amongst all the others, another light here.
We actually have multiple lights in the back, only one of which you can see. So we've got a 20-inch bar from Rigid. That's the SR series with a flood lens, because in the back you really want width over distance if we're talking about lights. And then, again, for the whole camping thing, we've got another light on the inside of the back glass here. If you look up in here, this is not really a kit. We just kind of made this with a waterproof light strip. A nice little flush mount switch right here. And then if you look back up, you've got light.
Wow.
And that's gonna be perfect for when he has his tailgate table here and he's cooking eggs and bacon, and you can see everything.
Now, did he have this idea, or did he come to you and say, hey, I want to have a light to kind of on my tailgate to open up, and then let you guys figure it out? Or
no, this was actually our idea. He originally just wanted this, but then he explained to me what he planned to use it for, and that's when I recommended we do the glass light. Having that on is going to be uncomfortable for anybody back here trying to do anything.
Is that the first time you guys ever done something
exactly like that? Yeah, that's the first time we did it. We just kind of winged it, and I think it turned out really clean, really nice, and I'm definitely going to do more of them. You already got shots of the panel, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's his secondary solar panel setup for when the tent is not on the Jeep. That stays on top of the Jeep.
Oh, I didn't realize it was on its own rack too.
Yeah, it's on its own rack.
Sits on top of
with a little
rack.
Quick disconnectable Deutsch plug.
Yeah.
All waterproof connections. So the Jeep is always going to have solar panel, no matter if he's got the tent on, the tent off back at home. The Jeep's not going to die.
And something like this, is there another battery that this connects to that he can then run, you know, like does he have an inverter in here or anything to run power? That's
actually a really good question. I'm trying to convince the customer to let me do a dual battery setup and have all the solar power the auxiliary battery, and all the accessories power from the auxiliary battery.
Yeah,
right now, right now we are still running the stock single main battery, but even for that, it's nice to have the solar power add-ons. And we actually did kind of do one thing a little bit different. We added an extra 12-volt outlet here, and the reason why we did this on top of having one from the factory right here, this 12-volt outlet can handle a lot more current, and this outlet is set up on a low voltage cutoff to the solar panels. So if the main battery gets below a certain voltage, this outlet won't have power anymore. It cuts off power so that if it's too cloudy outside, it's raining, your battery won't die. So this is actually going to solely be used for his fridge that stays back here. And aside from that, more obvious things we did are 35-inch tires. Mickey Thompson Baja Boss all-terrains. We did the TerraFlex Nomad wheels. These wheels are really cool. They have a system that allows you to quickly deflate the tire. I won't show you for real for right now.
I noticed those when I was filming. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's really cool.
It's just a much faster way to air down, so that you can quickly get onto the trail.
Now, does he have the famous ARB dual air compressor?
It's a good question. No, he does not.
Oh.
Actually, he does.
wait,
I just forgot about it for a second. Walk around here. Also, TerraFlex Alpha tire carrier. Really nice piece. Garrett and I could both jump on the tire, it wouldn't budge. We actually have the
Trooper
air compressor. Likes it. Yeah, Trooper loves this view. We have the air compressor right here. It's underneath the seat. If you peek in there, it is an ARB twin compressor. You've got the switch right here, and a little chuck right there. And I mean, it's just a super simple, easy to use setup.
It's very convenient right there. That's
very
really
convenient.
Cool.
Yeah, it doesn't take up any space. That's probably one of my favorite spots to put a compressor. But yeah, overall this thing is ready for some camping.
Yeah, I'd say this is a massive tent. I mean, it's all like,
we had to use our forklift to get the tent on top of the Jeep. With 4 guys.
See, that's where I needed to get footage. Was the.
That's where we should have had you here. Yeah, yeah. 4 guys were not coming close. This thing has some serious heft. I don't know if you can tell on video, but this is not plastic.
No,
this is like steel. The thing weighs over 200 pounds. I'm not sure the exact weight. I'm sure we can find out, but I know 4 of us couldn't comfortably put it up there without the risk of scratching the Jeep. So but we had to kind of custom make mounts on the crossbars. This tent is not for a Gobi Rack. It's not.
Well,
it's
that's
not
what I noticed. So this is how it grips, right? Like it clamps on.
Yep. These are the crossbars from Gobi. You can kind of see some of our hardware back in there, but we had to drill some holes and get a little bit creative. It's not too crazy.
Nothing ever really fits.
Nothing really. Yeah. The lights aren't supposed to go here. The tent's not supposed to go here. The solar panels are not supposed to go on the tent. The solar panels we used on top of the tent are actually the kit for a Ram 1500. But I figured they'll fit, so they did. Yeah.
Well, and it's cool too. You have 3D printed, material there to like help with the lights and do these custom setups. Now you're gonna have a lot of people come into the shop wanting some crazy things. Because
if it's for a Jeep, I'm down. Just don't come here with your 4Runner. That's all I ask.
No 4Runners allowed.
No Broncos, no 4Runners, no Tacomas.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, this is really, really cool.
And yeah, I don't know how many shots you got, but if you look at like our wiring, we ran like all the wires that we possibly could inside of the tubing of the Gobi Rack. Everything is tech flexed and Tessa taped. So like if you look at all this, it's as if the factory would have done it.
No, it's clean. I mean, you can see like, this is the most exposed, but like it's done.
And those have to be exposed because there's no other way to.
Well, and it has to also have some flexibility when it raises.
It's got two clips here you actually unhook, and you've got to unhook these 2 clips before you raise it up because it gives you the slack you need for the panels.
Yeah, exactly.
But we like to think we thought of all that stuff.
Right.
So another really cool thing, not only about this Jeep, just something we do here in general when we install Rockslide engineering steps. We're not a huge fan of the light kit that Rockslide engineering sells for their steps. So we use the same kind of lights that we put in the back glass of this Jeep. If you want to peek below, you can kind of see what I mean. It's in here.
There it is. Okay.
So that is a way bigger and brighter light strip than what these steps are offered with. And it costs the same to the customer, and I think it just looks way cooler, especially at night.
Oh yeah. That is very bright. I mean, even during the day, I mean, right now, it's
Yeah.
it's really, really bright.
Just one more thing we do here at Fortec that I feel like is a little bit different and, in my opinion, a little better than most others.
What inspired that? Just being like, yeah, let's see if we can do something better?
I had, I think, 2 of the Rockslide Engineering light kits fail, and that's when I started researching for an alternative, and I found these strips, and they're waterproof. I've never had one go bad, and yeah, way brighter, same cost, so it's a no-brainer.